compa ears. I've done just noses because people just wanted the Bajoran nose. I've done my own ears so that I could do Vulcan ears. And I imagine if you wanted to make hobbit feet or, so it's the same process. You just need to make a cast of whatever body part it is that you're going to do.
Yeah, you're going to have to think about, if you're doing like a hand or foot, you're going to have to think about where it's going to split because you have to be able to get the person's hand or foot out of your mold. So this is obviously a two-piece mold. I'm almost done the back half actually. So we're going to have to wait a couple minutes for it to dry, and then I'm going to grease this edge up with Vaseline before I do the front half. It'll overlap just a little bit, and I'll be able to get the two halves apart to get her head out. That's important.
And it is important because, you learn by trial and error. And I can remember one time, first doing Klingons, people just wanted the top half of their head done. So they didn't want the full face. They didn't want the whole back of the head. So, you were just kind of doing it from the tip of the nose, back here. And I think the very first one I did, the person had a particularly large bulbous back of the head. So I put the bandages too far down. Well, didn't we have a lot of fun trying to get that up and over?
It's called undercuts. If you have something that's shaped like this and it sort of catches around the back, you can't pull it out this way. So, I mean, depending on which way you're pulling a mold apart, you have to think about that. Especially if you're taking a cast of something relatively hard, like a person's head, and you're using a casting material that's hard like plaster, then undercuts are particularly important to remember to deal with. If you're using a soft material, then you can, like if you were casting something in rubber or something, you can bend the rubber and get it off. But if you're using plaster, you can't do that quite the same. The bandages will flex a little bit, but not much.
And the advantages of plaster over rubber is?
Well, it's cheaper and easier to work with. The professionals actually use a two-stage process. They first cover the person's head with something called alginate, which if you've ever had a casting of your teeth done at the dentist, it's basically that stuff. It's sort of a goopy thing that kind of dries rubbery. So they'll cover the person's head with that and then put bandages over the top of that as to solidify to keep it rigid. And then they take a bandage layer off, they take the alginate layer off, they put it all together again. That gets a much more out. You can see the person's pores. It's very accurate, but it's expensive and it's harder to apply and harder to work with. It takes longer. For most bandage purposes, this is fine. If you carefully smooth out the bandages, you can get really quite accurate casts. So this, for most purposes, this is just fine.
Now it's my turn to talk. Sar, just how long have you been costuming?
How long have I been costuming? I have Alzheimer's. I have no idea. Klingon knows better than I do when I started. I think it was
at least 20 years.
Well, oh yeah, at least 20. I think it's more like 25 years.
A little over 20 years since it has been.
By the way,
yeah.
Since she's not going to brag, Sar is a master costumer in the International Costume Guild, which is not an easy thing to become. Any of you who've seen the masquerade, she's an awesome costumer.
Okay. So we're done the back half.
My biggest fan, ladies and gentlemen. So Creeker's done the back half, so we're just going to let it set. It doesn't take that long to set. You can feel it yourself. It'll start to get a little bit rigid, and if you knock on it, you can feel that it's gone rigid. But you don't want to take it off too soon because, if you're pulling it and it's still soft, then it's going to change the shape. So leave it on, as long as you can. But I don't think it takes more than 10 minutes at the absolute most is all you would have to do. So that
by the time you do several layers, the inside layer is usually already starting to set.
Yeah, by the time you're done, the outside final layer, the inside is dry and set. But still, you don't want it to crack or anything when you're pulling it off.
Roughly how many layers do you need to make sure it won't fall apart, but it's not overlapping?
Well, it's not going to fall apart, but I got about 3 layers up here overlapping. What you can do though is, once you take it off the person, hold it up to a light, and if you see light shining through it, that part's too thin. And you can always just add more bandages over the outside surface after it's off the person. So long as it's solid enough to hold the shape as you take it off, that's good enough. So usually some of the areas around the face won't have quite enough layers when I take it off the person, but you can always reinforce it after the fact. After the fact, we're gonna have I'm gonna work around her nostrils so she can still breathe. After you take it off, you have to cover up those holes to be able to fill it with plaster. So we'll get to that.
Yeah. So usually about 3 or 4. Any other questions? So once you have your front and your back, what you're going to do is, well, when this is dry enough, what Krikor's going to do is he's going to add Vaseline on the edge so that when we do the front, you'll be able to pull the two pieces apart when we're taking it off her head. Once you have it off the person and you're putting the cast back together again, you would again use bandages, correct?
Or you can just duct tape it.
Or duct tape it to put the two pieces back together again. So once you've...
Did you say you talk about Vaseline and holding inside?
So once you have your two pieces back together again, you might want to go inside and feel around. Sometimes you might... So buying plaster from the hardware store, Walmart, those kinds of places is a lot more economical because you can go to the hobby stores and just buy a little box for like $10 or whatever, and it's not going to do what you need it to do.
It costs less than $20 to get like a 30-pound bag of plaster.
And it'll last you for years.
That'll be enough to do probably 2 positives and 2 negative molds for 2 people.
Yeah, it'll last a long time.
Well, depending on, I mean, a full head takes up quite a lot of plaster, but yeah, one bag will do quite a bit.
So just follow the directions on the product, mix your product, and what you're going to do is when you have your head together, I usually put it in like a bucket or a pail or something, maybe with a bit of sand to give it strength so that it stays upright.
Sort of support all of the bits so that there are no weird bulges, like because when you pour that plaster inside, it's heavy and it might deform the shape of your container, your head container otherwise.
Yeah, so like if you imagine, this is what's going to be your head, right? And so you don't want it rolling over because then the plaster is going to roll over. So if you put it into some kind of container and just kind of reinforce it around the bottom.
I often just use one of these buckets and sit the head in that upside down so that it sort of supports it.
Yeah. So you put your head in and your plaster, you pour it in. Every once in a while, give it a gentle shake to get out any air bubbles or anything. And kind of squish it a little bit to make sure that you're getting all the crevices, whether it's the ears or the eyes or the nostrils, whatever. Just take it slow at first. Completely fill in the head, because you have a head. That's what we're doing today. And just let it dry. Sometimes it can take a couple of days because you're talking about, 6-8 inches deep worth of plaster. So, if you need a headpiece tomorrow and you're casting today, you're not going to get a headpiece tomorrow.
It takes, Durabond 90 is called that because it takes 90 minutes to set, but it takes longer than that for it to really dry. I would say bare minimum of 12 hours, 24 would be better, before it sets enough to take the bandages off. And even after you take the bandages off, you want to sort of let it sit for a bit.
Yeah.
Before you But right after you take the bandages off is a good time to try and smooth it out before it really sets hard, as I was saying earlier.
So once your plaster has dried and it's time to take the cast off, I mean, you can smash it if you want and rip it off, but it's always nice to have the cast, so you can be very gentle about removing it.
You might have. So these don't take very long. So I'm just going to start at the neck and just sort of peel the edge a little bit.
Yeah. So this front half that is overlapped, you want to loosen up those bandages along the edge.
Yeah, it's just sort of on the sides, just sort of peeling it back a little bit. There we go.
And if you're having a hard time peeling them off, then you can just use an X-Acto knife or something to score it if you had to. But be very careful. You don't have to go far. Well, I've had that problem before. Maybe the bandage went too far past where the Vaseline was.
Sure. You're better off using like a blunt, like a butter knife to sort of pry the layer apart a little bit.
Yes. But then I eat with that, so.
Yes, but I'd rather do that than slit the person's carotid artery. Anyway. Now I'm gonna, Merle, you're gonna want to scrunch up your face, move all your face muscle around. That loosens up the casting from your face.
Yeah. So if you're the victim, you want to be doing this before it gets ripped off. And that loosens the plaster.
Wow.
And then it pops right off.
The few little spots I might want to sort of fill in or clean up in there, but it's actually not too bad.
Put your hand out.
Let's get the rest of the way out of here.
There you go. Wipe your face on.
Okay, we can just pull the
You
cap
can take
off
the
at
wall
the-
cap right with it.
Peel it off right with the thing, and there's the back half.
So,
Now, the back half is going to have a few wrinkles of where the bald cap was wrinkled, but
I
you don't
can
really care
see.
about that.